Hey guys, just Gadamu here with our tutorial video. I was going to say toy review. So I've had some requests to do a detailed tutorial on how to build these VHS tape hangers, which I've built dozens of these. They help showcase my collection. It fits well with G.I. Joes, Gundams. I've seen somebody build a giant Evangelion hanger that's just huge for like a 1/100 scale Evangelion or something. It was epic using these methods. So what you do is you go to the thrift store and you find some VHS tapes. I recommend that you get the ones that the name is printed on there and not paper. Because while you can get the paper off with some Goo Gone and a lot of scrubbing and scraping, nobody's got time for that. I mean, I used to have time for that, but not anymore. I'm too busy. So I just go to the thrift store. I find all the ones that don't have any stickers on them. I prefer them to not have any embedded writing, indented. Because when you spray paint that, it's still there. But if it's not there, then that looks pretty nice. I particularly but these are more rare, ones without that writing. So I use these often as my floors because they don't have any writing. And then this VHS hanger I've never really upgraded, but I just decided I didn't care so much this time around about the writing. So, if you don't care, it's great. But if it does bother you, you find some zip ties and you cut them and you just put them over the words. Also, you can find other random stuff and glue it on. But anyways, after you got your VHS tape, then you just spray paint the sides and the front. You can spray paint it whatever color you want. They're not, and you can try and match up the unique style of the little square details and stuff. You can see these two VHSs are different. And then what I take after that is a hobby knife of some sort. I usually grab a big box knife, like so. And I get a ruler. And I'm just simple. So I just go with the ruler, do that up there. And for the floors, I do a different pattern. So I'll lay my ruler like so, and then I'll use the knife. This is obviously not a ruler, but I'll go like that, and then I'll turn the ruler, and I'll cut, and I'll cut, and I'll turn the ruler, and I'll cut, and I'll cut. And you're really just scraping the paint, as you can see, which lets that black of the plastic shine through. And it gives the floor a little bit of, texture, etc., which helps trick the brain to not be like, hey, a VHS tape. But no, your brain's like, oh, that's a cool floor. Oh, that's a neat wall with supports. You can see I kind of went awry there. The ruler slipped. But it's really quite easy. And then I tend to build like shelves out of these. So it takes 16 VHS tapes total. This fits a standard Walmart shelf pretty easily. At least Walmart shelves back in the day, because that's what I got. And I use 6 for the bottom, though you could change that to whatever you need. I don't have any supports under here or anything like that. These are super glued with Loctite super glue. I put the two flat parts together. So this side's flat, this side is kind of indented. So for the strongest bond, I put the flat parts together. I super glue them quite liberally. I make sure I have something underneath the surface so that if it glues to that, I can rip it off, So I don't like glue VHS tapes to my table and have my wife murder me in my sleep, because that would be bad. Then, the other opposing ends get glued together and you end up with, just a set of 6. Then you do another set of 6. And of course you should put in the lines first. Then you do 2 sets of 2. That's where it gets, just a little more interesting. You put a bunch of glue, just reverse this. You just glue everywhere. Then you take your wall of VHS tapes and you set them on this and you just line them up until you've got this part and this part. After that, you bring along the other two and you just, you know, and you just... And while these are just simple, you know, shelves I've built, like this one's a double. And so it's a lot larger. There's no supports in the floor. The Loctite super glue is quite mighty. And so it really does hold pretty well. Unless you put really heavy things on here. But you could build something that's enormous. You could build it entirely different. I saw somebody turn VHS tapes into G.I. Joe scale computers. And I've built one that was like a hangar door, like double doors that went open like this because they were VHSs that were just completely flat. They had none of this detail. I was like, oh, I can make doors. And they slide open. So there's a lot you can do with this. I mean, the limit is your imagination. The basics are simple. VHS tape, gut it, spray paint it, cut some lines into the paint with a ruler and a knife, Loctite super glue, you know, and then, you know, cover up those dang embedded words. By the way, you usually need to spray paint the VHS tapes twice just to cover up the wording.
When we were first developing this, I'm just gonna bust into this video.
Mrs. Cadano, what are you doing here? I wasn't super gluing on your table.
When we were first developing these, I got a bunch of different kinds of rulers, and I played around with lots of different designs. And, oh, you have those, sweet.
I still have them.
So
you got them the main details now.
So I played around with lots of different kinds of designs. And then, make sure you get the whole thing. They can pause it if they want, if they like something. And then, ultimately, Mr. Gnome picked something that was easily repeatable.
Yeah, I wanted easy because I knew I was going to make a bunch of these. My whole collection is showcased on these things.
But look, you can do lots of kinds of stuff. I really like these kinds of things that show like panels and stuff like that. So if you were just making one or two, you know, go to town on making little panel-y kinds of things.
Yeah.
So I used, you know, just different sized rulers or different shaped rulers.
This is more detailed than I am. She's what makes all my projects look amazing. But I went for easily repeatable, and you know, then you just drop in little details like that's some broken toy piece I found. And that's some gears from some piece of a computer, and that's some wargaming thing. That's a cap from a super glue bottle. That's some heat sink, and those are old metal building toy things. And that I just found somewhere, and I had plastic, and I put it together with some constructs and a disc reader from a PlayStation 2. You're gonna have a hard time building that from scratch. But what I'm saying is you find random stuff and you're just like, oh yeah, that heatsink could be a weapon holder. Yeah. Things like that. And, you know, it can turn this plain VHS hanger that you see before you with stuff just piled on it into something that's way more detailed. You know, that was a part of a Hot Wheels vehicle battery compartment thing. I would like to put lights up inside these, but I never really figured out how to do that because, you know, there's no like space between them, etc. But I've seen people put lights into their VHS tape hangers, and it can be done.
You probably want to pre-drill before you glue them together.
Yeah. So, go ahead and build, guys, and please shoot me a message to show me what you built or a video. Later.